With Us, Pet Sematary, and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark all releasing over the next few months, it's getting a little tough to keep track of all the horror movies we have to be excited about. But no matter what movie pops up on my radar, the one I cannot stop thinking about is Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell. It's hard to believe that it's been over 12 years since The Devil's Rejects released, and since then, Rob Zombie has unfortunately had a pretty tough run in Hollywood. He released his Halloween remake, which was pretty well liked by fans and critics, and it made a ton of money, but the sequel, even though it made a ton of money just like the first one, made a whole lot less money, and fans and critics absolutely hated that. Since then, we got the criminally underrated and underviewed Lords of Salem in 2012, and then in 2016 we got 31, which was terrible by most if not all accounts, and the big problem with both of those movies is that they didn't even manage to make back their tiny budgets. With that in mind, it makes sense that Rob Zombie would want to go back to his filmmaking roots and bring back the Firefly family because, well, everyone likes those characters and they have a pretty good chance at making some money. There's some real nostalgia built up there because it's been over a decade since we've seen them. The big problem here though is that if you've seen The Devil's Rejects, you know how it ends, and that's with a big firing squad blowing these characters apart. Like basically they're guaranteed dead at the end of that movie, so there's gonna have to be a few changes there. So with all of that in mind, I sat down, I did some digging, and I figured out everything you need to know about 3 from Hell. For most of 2017, Rob Zombie was teasing that he was considering bringing these characters back, but we didn't really get an official announcement until October of 2017, right around Halloween, which is awesome. He shot the movie in March and April of 2018, but then it kind of went dark because he had to do a tour with Marilyn Manson, and then after that ended last September, he sat down and really started editing it. Since the movie was announced, the big thing people want to know is how Otis, Baby, and Captain Spaulding are still alive after the end of The Devil's Rejects. I've seen theories that Dr. Satan, who's a character in House of a Thousand Corpses, comes and retrieves the bodies and brings them back to life. I've also seen some theories that the devil literally kicks them out of hell and grants them immortality, but honestly guys, after digging around, I think it's a whole lot simpler than that. Even though we don't know what the budget is for this movie yet, 31 was a crowdfunded movie, so we really can't consider that movie's budget, so I would say it's gonna be closer to Lords of Salem's $1.5 million than the $7 million The Devil's Rejects got, just because of how Rob Zombie's career has panned out since that movie. And thanks to Rob Zombie's Instagram, where he shares a ton of screenshots from the editing room for this movie, the fact that we know it was mostly shot at the Sybil Brand Institute, which is an abandoned women's prison here in LA, and the fact that the 3 official posters we received have been mugshots for Otis, Baby, and Captain Spaulding, it's pretty clear this is gonna be a prison movie through and through. And because of that, I think Rob Zombie is gonna make it so at the end of The Devil's Rejects, the Firefly family survived. He's not gonna explain it, they're just gonna get sent to prison, and the whole plot of the movie is gonna be that they're gonna break out of prison at the very end, and hopefully he'll make enough money on this to do a bigger Devil's Rejects-like story in the future. Backing that theory up a little bit is the fact that Danny Trejo is coming back in this movie as Rondo. So now that Sheriff Wydell is dead and can't protect him from the Fireflies, if and when they break out, they're gonna come after him and kill him. So he's gonna probably want to help them escape prison. And finally, we know that Clint Howard is playing a clown called Mr. Baggy Britches, so he's probably aligned with Captain Spaulding. I would bet a lot of money that he's not gonna be a good clown. Even though 3 from Hell is skipping out on the road trip vibe and has a smaller budget than The Devil's Rejects, we know that it's not gonna skimp out on the violence thanks to Bill Moseley, who sat down with Rue Morgue 6 months ago. He said it's gonna be a crowd pleaser. From what I've heard from Rob, he's very happy and excited about what he's got, and it's chock-a-block with gratuitous violence, which is great because lately there have been a lot of good horror movies that just don't have a lot of that. And you know what guys, that sounds great to me. Another big thing I've been trying to figure out for the past few days is when this movie is going to release, because I saw a report that a bunch of big sites picked up on from Dark Universe Horror Database or whatever, that the movie was gonna release on October 31st of this year. Rob Zombie instantly shot that rumor down, and I don't know where they got their info, but it is safe to say that we will not be seeing it in October. But what I think that means is we'll probably be seeing it a whole lot sooner. Rob Zombie's still working on the post-production of the movie, but they only took a month to film. It's obviously got a smaller budget, and I don't think it'll take that long to edit together. So really guys, I think we could probably see this either in August or September of this year. But let's cross our fingers that we don't see it in 2020 because that's way too far away. That was a ton of info, so let's just do a quick recap. 3 from Hell is probably releasing this year on VOD and in limited theaters. We're gonna see the Firefly family return, and it'll probably take place almost entirely in a prison, with them breaking out at the very end. We're also gonna see characters like the Unholy 2, and there's gonna be a new clown called Mr. Baggy Britches, and again, it's not coming out this Halloween. But speaking of violence, I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you about my friend Luke over at Modern Horror's new movie, God Country. I felt like this was the perfect time to tell you guys about it because it's inspired by movies like The Devil's Rejects, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and new French Extremity movies. movies. It's gonna have a ton of gore and be like something you saw back in 2009, but it's gonna be shot a whole lot better, and finally, it's gonna have almost 100% practical effects. Now, they're crowdfunding it right now. Their goal is only $25,000, and they're about a fifth of the way there. So make sure you check out the link in the description and check out the rewards they're offering because they're all really cool. Anyway, guys, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Here's the trailer for God Country.
There's one thing that is absolutely certain, and you ought to know this. You should know it and come to face with it. Come to the facts and settle this. You are going to die. You will leave planet Earth.